I want you to picture the last time you unloaded your Costco haul onto the kitchen counter. The bags, the boxes, the giant tubs, and then the moment that comes right after. The moment nobody talks about. You open the fridge and realize there's nowhere to put any of it. So you start shoving things in, cramming the giant tub of spring mix onto the shelf, balancing the flat of berries on top of the eggs, sliding that enormous bag of shredded cheese into the drawer where it will sit, forgotten, growing something green in a corner. And 2 weeks later, you throw half of it away. I did that for years. Every single trip, I told myself I was saving money. I walked out with a receipt as long as my arm, feeling clever, feeling like a smart shopper who'd beaten the system. And the whole time I was quietly bleeding money into my own trash can. So one day I actually sat down and did the thing nobody does. I tracked it. Every item. What it cost per ounce. What I actually used versus what I threw out. What I could get cheaper somewhere else. And what I found genuinely made me a little angry, because there were things I'd been buying for years that were never a deal at all. Today, I'm giving you all 13 of them. The Costco buys I stopped putting in my cart, and exactly what I buy instead. And I want to be clear. I still shop there. I'm still a member. This isn't about hating the place. It's about not being the guy who's being quietly farmed for money in a store he loves. By the time we get to number 4, you're going to understand the one mental trick that makes almost every bad bulk purchase happen. And number 2 is the one I feel genuinely stupid about, because it was sitting in my cart every single trip for about 6 years. So stick around. And number 9. Number 9 is probably in your fridge right now. Let's get into it. Number 13. The giant tub of mixed greens. Let's start with the one that got me the most often. That enormous plastic clamshell of spring mix or baby spinach. It looks like health itself. You put it in the cart and you feel like a better person immediately. And here's what actually happens. You eat 2 salads out of it, maybe 3. And then, around day 5, you open the fridge and there's that unmistakable slimy layer at the bottom of the tub. That dark, wet, wilted patch spreading upward. And the whole thing goes in the bin. Here's the part that stings. When you throw away half a tub, you didn't get a bulk discount. You paid double the per serving price you thought you paid. That's not a deal. That's the most expensive lettuce in town. What I buy instead, smaller bags of greens from the regular grocery store, bought more often. Yes, the sticker price per ounce looks worse, but the price of what I actually eat is dramatically better because I finish it. And honestly, I eat more salad now because it's never slimy. Now, that was greens. But number 12 is the one that fooled me because it seemed impossible to waste. It's shelf stable. It doesn't rot. And it was still costing me money. Number 12, the bulk spices. That giant jug of paprika. The tub of cumin the size of your head. It feels like the ultimate smart buy. Spices don't spoil, right? So more is better. Except spices don't spoil. They fade. Ground spices lose their punch over months, and that giant container is going to sit in your cabinet for 2, 3, 4 years. By year 2, you're not seasoning your food, you're sprinkling brown dust on it and wondering why your cooking tastes flat. So you end up doing what I did, buying more spices, better spices, fancy spice blends, trying to figure out why nothing tastes right, when the answer was that my paprika was old enough to go to school. What I buy instead, small jars of the spices I use often, replaced regularly. The only exceptions I still buy big are the ones I genuinely burn through. For me, that's garlic powder and black pepper. Everything else, small. So that's the cabinet. But number 11 is about something in your fridge door that you probably think is a total no-brainer. And it's the one where I found the biggest gap between the feeling of a deal and the actual math. Number 11. The giant condiment bottles. The gallon of mayo. The ketchup bottle you need 2 hands to lift. The mustard jug that doesn't fit in any shelf you own. Here's the problem, and it's a sneaky one. Once you open it, that condiment has a clock running on it. And most households, especially smaller ones, empty nesters, couples, anyone not feeding a football team, will not finish a commercial-sized mayo before it turns. So you either eat mayo that's been open for 8 months, or you pour a half-full container down the drain. Neither of those is a win. And there's a hidden cost people never count. Space. That jug is squatting in your fridge, taking up the room you needed for the food you actually eat, which pushes other stuff to the back where it gets forgotten and thrown out. One bad buy creates more bad outcomes. What I buy instead? Normal-sized condiments. And I only go big on the 1 or 2 my family genuinely destroys. For us, that's 1. Just 1. Everything else is regular size now. So that's the fridge door. But number 10. Number 10 is the aisle I now walk straight past without even slowing down. And it used to be my favourite part of the whole store. Number 10. The bakery items. That gorgeous muffin tray. The enormous croissants. The cake that could feed a wedding. The bakery is doing something very deliberate to you. It's putting out the smell, the sight, and the size all at once, and it's very hard to walk past. Here's what actually happened in my house. Day 1, those muffins are incredible. Day 2, still good. Day 3, they're getting dry, and you're eating them out of guilt, not hunger. Day 4, nobody wants them. Day 5, they're in the trash, and you've eaten about 4,000 calories of muffin you didn't want, purely because you didn't want to waste them. That's the double loss nobody talks about. You waste money and you eat food you didn't even enjoy just to avoid the waste. The bakery aisle isn't selling you baked goods, it's selling you obligation. What I buy instead? I buy bakery items only when I have an actual event. A gathering, a party, people coming over. If there's no event, it doesn't go in the cart. And on a normal week, if I want something baked, I buy exactly as much as I'll eat that day. So that's the bakery. Now number 9 is the one I said might be in your fridge right now. And this one genuinely surprised me when I did the math. Number 9. The massive bag of shredded cheese. This one feels bulletproof. Cheese lasts, right? And the per pound price looks fantastic. Here's what nobody warns you about. Once that bag is open, it's on a countdown. And a £5 bag of shredded cheese is a lot of taco nights. So it sits, and one day you open it up and there it is. That unmistakable blue-green fuzz creeping through the shreds. Now you're standing at the bin, throwing away 4 pounds of cheese, doing that thing where you try to convince yourself it was still a good deal. It wasn't. You paid for £5 and ate one. What I buy instead? I still buy cheese there, but I buy blocks, not shreds. Blocks last dramatically longer than pre-shredded. They're usually cheaper per pound anyway, and honestly, they melt better because they're not coated in anti-caking powder. 2 minutes with a grater, and you've got better cheese for less money. If I do buy a big bag of shreds, it goes straight into the freezer, portioned out. So that's the cheese handled. But number 8 is the one where I realised I wasn't just wasting money, I was paying a premium for something and telling myself I was saving. Number 8. The pre-cut fruit and veggie trays. The tub of cut pineapple. The pre-chopped onions. The veggie tray with the little dip in the middle. These are marketed on convenience, and convenience is the single most expensive thing you can buy in a grocery store. Look at the price per pound of pre-cut fruit versus a whole one. It's not close. You are paying someone a substantial premium to do about 90 seconds of knife work. And there's a second cost. Cut fruit and veg spoil far faster than whole ones because you've broken all the protective skin. So you're paying more for something that gives you less time to eat it. That's a bad trade in both directions. What I buy instead? Whole fruit, whole vegetables, and I cut them myself the night before. If I want the convenience, I buy whole and do all my chopping in one go on Sunday. Same result, a fraction of the cost. That one's about paying for convenience. But number 7 is about paying for marketing. And this is where I started to feel a little played. Number 7. The name brand items I was buying out of pure loyalty. For years, I walked right past the store's own label to grab the brand I recognized. The one from the TV commercials. The one my mum bought. It felt safer. Here's the uncomfortable truth I had to face. In a lot of categories, that in-house warehouse brand is made to a very high standard, sometimes by major manufacturers, and it typically sells for meaningfully less than the famous name sitting next to it. My loyalty to a logo was the only thing standing between me and a lower bill every single trip. Now, is the house brand better in every category? No, there are a few things where I still prefer the name brand and I'll happily pay for it. But I found that in the majority of cases, paper goods, pantry staples, basics, I genuinely couldn't tell the difference in a blind comparison. I was paying extra for the packaging and the ad budget. What I buy instead, I default to the house brand now, and I only go back to a name brand if I've actually tested it and know I prefer it. Not because of a commercial, because of a test. So that's brand loyalty. But number 6 is a trap that catches almost everybody, and it's dressed up as the biggest bargain in the whole warehouse. Number 6. The great deal I didn't actually need. This is the one that isn't a product. It's a behavior, and it's the most expensive thing in this whole video. You know the moment. You're walking to the back for milk, and you pass a pallet of something. And it's a fantastic price. Truly. A genuinely good deal. And your brain does this thing where it says, I'd be losing money by not buying this. And that's the trick. Because a discount on something you weren't going to buy isn't a saving. It's a purchase. You didn't save $30. You spent $50 on something that wasn't on your list, and then you felt good about it, which is the most expensive combination there is. I have bought so much stuff this way. Things that are, right now, sitting in a cupboard, unopened, because I never actually needed them. What I do instead, I walk in with a list, and I obey it. If I see something incredible that's not on the list, I write it down, and I decide next trip, with a clear head, out of the store. 9 times out of 10, I don't want it anymore. That gap between wanting and buying is where all the money is. Now stay with me, because number 5 is the one that finally forced me to check my own receipts. And I did not like what I found. Number 5, the bulk items that were cheaper somewhere else. Here's the assumption the entire warehouse model runs on. Bigger is always cheaper. And most of the time, it is. But not always. And that gap is exactly where you get taken. Sometimes the giant package has a higher unit price than a smaller one at a regular grocery store, especially when that store runs a sale. Sometimes the discount store down the road has a staple cheaper every single day of the week. And you would never know because you're not comparing. You're assuming. You walk in already believing the price is good, so you never check. I checked, and I found several staples I'd been loyally buying in bulk that I could get cheaper elsewhere, week in, week out. What I do instead, I keep what shoppers call a price book. It's not fancy. It's a note on my phone. Just the unit price of the 20 or so things I buy constantly at each store I go to. It took me 1 month to build, and it has saved me money on literally every trip since. You stop being a shopper who's guessing and become a shopper who knows. So that's the math. But number 4 is the mental trick underneath almost every bad bulk buy you've ever made. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 4, anything bought for the person I wished I was. This is the big one, and it's not really about food. I bought 5 pounds of kale because I was going to be someone who eats kale. I bought a giant tub of protein powder because I was going to be at the gym 6 days a week. I bought a case of sparkling water because I was going to quit soda on Monday. The warehouse is not selling to who you are. It's selling to who you plan to become. And that guy, the future you who meal preps, who eats the kale, who uses all 48 of anything, that guy doesn't shop. He doesn't exist yet. But you pay for his groceries every single week. And that's why the waste is invisible. Because the buying happens on a Saturday, when you're optimistic, and the throwing away happens 2 weeks later, in a quiet moment, when you're not connecting the two events at all. What I do instead, I buy for the last 2 weeks of my actual life, not the next 2 weeks of my fantasy life. Brutally honest, boring, and it has saved me a fortune. Now, number 3 is about a whole category I stopped buying, and I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one. Number 3. The big-ticket impulse items at the front of the store. The TVs, the furniture, the seasonal stuff, the kayak. There's a reason all of it sits right at the entrance, right in your path, before you've reached a single item you actually came for. You are at your most cheerful, your most flush, and your least critical in the first 90 seconds of a shopping trip. That's not an accident. Now, sometimes those are genuinely good prices. That's the tricky part. This isn't a scam, it's a setup. But a large purchase made in the first 2 minutes of a grocery run with no research is almost never a decision. It's a reflex. What I do instead, I never buy a big-ticket item on the day I see it. Not once. I go home, I check the price online, including their own website because the online and warehouse prices don't always match, and I compare elsewhere. If it's still the best deal in 3 days, I go back and get it. And here's the thing. Because the return policy on general merchandise is genuinely generous, waiting costs me almost nothing, while impulse costs me everything. So that's the front of the store. But number 2, this is the one I'm actually embarrassed about. 6 years. Every single trip. Number 2, the healthy snacks in the giant boxes. The granola bars, the trail mix, the protein bars, the big box of individually wrapped somethings that felt like a responsible choice. Here's what I finally admitted to myself. 2 things were happening. First, the per item price on a lot of those boxes wasn't actually better than a sale price at a normal store. I just assumed it was, because the box was big. And second, and this is the real one, having a giant box of snacks in the house means you eat a giant box of snacks. The quantity doesn't make you a better shopper. It makes you a bigger snacker. Nobody eats a 48-count box slower than a 12-count box. You eat it faster because it feels endless. So I was paying about the same and eating 4 times as much. That's not saving money. That's paying money to undermine yourself. What I buy instead, smaller quantities, kept out of sight, and I lean toward whole foods that don't have a hand-to-mouth reflex attached to them. My grocery bill dropped, and, honestly, so did the amount of junk I eat without noticing. So that's my embarrassing one. And now number 1. This is the big one. The single thing I stopped buying that changed the entire trip. And it's not on any shelf in the building. Number 1. I stopped buying the feeling. Here's the truth underneath all 13 of these. The thing I was really buying every single visit wasn't the cheese or the greens or the kayak. It was a feeling. The feeling of being a smart shopper. The feeling of having won. That deep satisfaction of walking out with a cart piled high and a receipt curling to the floor thinking, look how much I got. And that feeling is the most expensive product in the entire warehouse. Because it doesn't come from the shelves, it comes from volume. From the sheer size of the haul, which means the better it feels, the more you spent. The whole model depends on you not knowing what things actually cost anywhere else. Every trick. The missing aisle signs, the maze, the giant packages, the samples, the front of store TVs. Every single one of them only works if you're shopping on feeling instead of on numbers. So I stopped. I bring a list. I keep a price book. I buy for who I actually am. And I walk out with a smaller cart, a shorter receipt, and, this is the strange part, more money and less food in my trash can. That's the whole thing. 13 buys, 1 lesson. And here's what I want you to do. This week, before your next trip, do one thing. Open the Notes app on your phone and write down the price of the 5 things you buy there every single time. Just 5. Then go look at what those same 5 cost somewhere else. I promise you, at least one of them is going to surprise you. And that's it from this video. If this saved you a little money, do me a favor, like, share and subscribe so the next person finds it too. Thanks for watching. and I'll see you in the next one.